Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. This is right ain't baby.
Without further ado, let's all give Mr. Edelen a warm L.E.T.S Express welcome.
Excellent. Thanks a lot.
Go ahead, Mr. Edelen, and have a seat. We're going to do the interview first. All right. How you doing?
I'm great.
Good. All right. So first question that I have for you is, who is Adam, and where are you from?
Thanks. Let me just say it's great to be here. Who am I? Goodness, that's the big question in life, I think. I am the product of two very, very good parents who did a great job despite being born into difficult circumstances. I would want everybody to know that I was born in rural Kentucky to a mother who wasn't quite 17 years old, to a dad who built grain bins for a living. And one of the things that I learned that defines us as human beings is not where we're born or how much money our folks have or what the color of our skin is. It's about people are the culmination of their dreams.
That's right.
And their willingness to work towards those dreams. And there was a road that ran right in front of my family farm that my dad used to point to and say, son, with hard work, this road will take you anywhere. And that's who I am. And it's how I raise my children. It's why I'm in public service. It's why I work so hard in business. And I think that really describes who I am to a T.
It's actually a really good of important information. And a lot of us here today, we know about those moms that have their kids really early, and it's a struggle. So it's actually a blessing that you're not a statistic today.
Well, it is, and I know every day how lucky I am. I mean, I was, despite my parents being young and poor, we got lucky. I mean, there was a big family social network. They raised me to believe that you could get anywhere in life provided you're willing to work hard.
Right.
But they made sure I was in church. They made sure that I understood that you have to believe in something bigger than yourself. And so I got really lucky. They fought and scrimped to make sure I had every opportunity along the way in life growing up. Because people, their destiny isn't to be a statistic. Their destiny should be to be whatever they can dream. And we've got to make sure that in Kentucky and in America or wherever, we've got the conditions in place to support people who have those dreams. Because if we just evaluated people based on where they're from or who their parents are, we'd be missing out hugely. So the opportunity to make sure that we've got a world-class system of education that makes sure every kid, regardless of who they are or where they're from or how much money their folks have or the color of their skin, get the opportunity to be able to compete in a global economy, and then to make sure that we've got job opportunities from people on every level of the economic strata so they can realize the American dream right here at home. That's what drives me. I'm a big believer in human potential. But people can't realize their potential without the collective community doing what they can to make sure that they get along the way in life. So I'm a big believer in that. That's who I am, and it's what I believe.
Yes, I agree with you. I think you almost got my vote. I won't go back to the interview.
Almost. After the first question, but
I won't go to the interview is complete. I'd like to ask you a little bit about your professional background. I heard that you worked at the Urban League of Lexington.
Sure. That's one of the things I did. I put myself through college as an aide to Governor Patton. And I worked in his campaign and then spent some time in his office and finished up at UK doing that. I worked in business primarily for about 10 years. I worked for companies large and small, big and little, and I was involved in a lot of things in the community. Now, you've heard what I'm about. You know who I am, you know what I'm about. I'm a big believer in human potential, so I've always been drawn to those civic organizations that I think drive human potential. And for me in Lexington, it was the Urban League of Lexington that I served as the board chairman for a couple of years. I was on the board for 5 years. And then I was active with the Chamber of Commerce, where we did a lot of projects aimed at making sure people who are displaced from economic opportunity had the opportunity to better themselves, work on projects. I was a huge driver of the minority business certification efforts in Lexington, which I'm really proud of. And then I was the chairman of the board of Kentucky Educational Television. And what I'm really proud about KET, not a lot of people know this, but 1 million Americans, not just Kentuckians, 1 million Americans have gotten their GED on KET. And that's something Kentucky can be proud of. I was really excited to be part of that, but almost every initiative I have ever been involved with has been about making sure all people can realize their human potential. It's what drives me. You got to be passionate about what you do. And I'm very passionate about what I do. My goodness, I'm running for a political office where I'll make half what I used to and probably work twice as many hours. My dad, who's a farmer, says it's just ridiculous. But helping people help themselves is what motivates me as a leader. So that's the kind of auditor I'll be, and it's what I've done in business. Now, in business, I was an executive with companies large and small. I've started small businesses. And I think as auditor, I'll be able to call upon that experience and making organizations do more with less, making them more inclusive and more profitable is something that will serve me well as state auditor.
Definitely. And one more quick question. I'd like for you to please, it's not really a question, it's a request, explain to us what the state auditor does. Yeah. What makes your role, why is that important for us to care and to vote for that particular position?
That's the million-dollar question. The state auditor is the person that you elect to make sure that our tax dollars are being spent wisely and honestly. And I'll tell you why it matters. I think it's the second most important statewide office we have after governor. Because in an era in which families are literally gathered around kitchen tables trying to figure out how they're going to meet the mortgage, pay for health care, send the kids to school, you've got to have somebody who's watching your back and watching your wallet every day.
That's right.
And in a state, and let me just, another reason I'm so passionate about this job and passionate about serving Kentucky is because the two historic barriers to Kentucky's progress have been corruption and a scarcity of resources. And the state auditor is the one job where you can impact both of those things. Now, I'll tell you something. I grew up poor. I know what it's like. Folks, black is black, white is white, poor is poor. And that's just a fact. And a poor state cannot afford to make investments it has a hard time making investments in people, whether it be education or job creation or social services. But a poor state that tolerates a culture of waste and inefficiency and corruption is one that really can't afford to make those investments. So it's something I'm passionate about doing, is being an auditor who fights corruption and wants to make sure every program is being spent and operated as efficiently as possible so we can reinvest these dollars in our people. I mean, this is what it's all about. You want to compete in a global economy, folks? There's no such thing as a throwaway kid in a global economy. There are 5 Chinese for every one of us. There are 4 Indians for every one of us.
That's right.
And if we start throwing away people because they were born poor or black or whatever, then we are really cutting our own throat. And I love this country. I love this state. And our ability to move forward is based upon the collective we, all realizing our dreams together. And that's what I'm passionate about, and it's going to be my life's work, and I'm excited about having this opportunity.
I definitely appreciate you coming, and I definitely appreciate you sitting with me and doing the interview. I know that the position that you're running for is very important. Doing a little research myself, I realized that there's over 60,000 nonprofit organizations here in the state of Kentucky, and roughly half of them are putting their dollars in misappropriated places. I'm not saying that they're not doing a service,
sure,
but when you get money for an organization, it should be put to what you're giving the money for,
that's right,
not into a different, program or incentive that you have. So I definitely appreciate what you're doing. I definitely see the value in it, and you definitely have my vote.
Excellent, we got one. Thanks.